Look, we've saved the best to last. You're going to feel pretty good about that.
Always,
But we've
James.
given you
I know you look
we've given
after
you
me
very
well.
little time.
I know you look after me well. Well, can I greet everybody? And it is an absolute pleasure to be part of the team. And congratulations on your new book. I have to say that I'm on page 5, but I've got a reason. I'm a mathematician. So therefore, reading doesn't go really well with me, but I promise you I will read it because it is research, and research I love as a mathematician. It is interesting. I actually came across James Sanderson through the Twitter, and I read an incredible article about the learnership and about the growth mindset. And I thought, oops, that sounds really, really good. So therefore, I've sent him an email, and sure enough, he replied. You may ask, why was I attracted to what he was advertising on the Twitter? I have been in the profession approximately 40 years, and I have been from a classroom teacher to a principal now. My background is mathematics. And one thing that always bothered me is that education does not serve the needs of the children. And why do I make this comment? Is because when you talk to the children, very few of them know why they go to school and why they learn. And this really, really worried me. We have what we call professionals in the classroom, that they know they can lay well. However, though, when you ask the children what they take away from every classroom, it was very little, or most of the time it was none. They could not articulate their learning. That always has been an issue for me. Working in a girls' schools, also was very concerned about the lack of confidence when it came to mathematics or sciences or even in other subjects. Often I will hear, Miss, I'm not good enough. Or, you know what I mean, I've been told that I cannot do this. It was also
Mindset
about the
issues.
teachers that we do have the experts, but always I use the metaphor. I may be the best chef, and I can give you the best plate of fish. But if you're allergic to it, you will not be able to tell me, you know what I mean, whether they taste well or not. So therefore, those things were in my mind as when I became a principal in 2013. They were the sort of, the struggles that I was having. How do I make my girls become confident learners? And how do I make the classroom become vibrant? Not student driven, as John put it. I mean, not teacher driven,
Teacher.
as John put that the majority of the time the teachers talk. But I was more interested that they go into the classroom to learn, but they understand what they learn. It is not about the 80, it is not about the 90 or the 50%, but it is about the journey, that it will assist them to basically manage the world that they see in front of them, full of uncertainties and a lot of problem solving. And I could not see that we were acquiring those skills. It was also about my teachers who, they were exceptional practitioners, but I'm not so sure if they ever thought how their students learn. I don't think they ever question themselves how they learn as professionals. So we touched a little bit on that. So from all this, I was really attracted to what I read about James and what he was doing with the growth mindset, which was very, very familiar because often I presented to my staff about Carol Dweck. But what I found that learnership, it was interesting when James said, we will, you know what I mean, I'll be very happy, Elizabeth, to come on board. The first thing that I did is actually change the mindset of the teachers, that education is not about HSC, education is not about ATA. Education is about educating children and opening multiple doors for them. And therefore, whichever door they open, there is an invitation for them to succeed. So we started with the parents. We did similar professional learning with the students as well, because I felt whatever we did with the teachers, we might do with the students. For me and for my staff, it was extremely important that the children understand the purpose of learning, but also believe in themselves. Therefore, which habit of minds do we use in order to be able to move forward? And also we included the parents as well. So you can see it as a triangle where professional learning for teachers, professional learning for students, but it was also interesting to change that parent perception. I wanted the parent to be on board and for the parents to understand how their children learn, and not in my meetings to label them, but Mrs. Amvrazis is not good at maths. That is something that I refuse to accept. I refuse to accept that children, you know what I mean?
Your parent community was so receptive to that. It was,
that's exactly
really
right.
building that whole community.
Yeah, and sort of that triangle made a huge difference. So what I've done is I've got 4 quotations, if you give me a moment. This is coming directly from my students, because student voice at Asquith is all that it matters. So the children actually, they have voice the way they learn and the way they want to succeed. And that's why I found what James offered. It was absolutely brilliant. And it was something that, you know what I mean, we wanted to embrace, and we have embraced it. And I must say that we moved. So therefore, we asked them a question as to what difference did the program make? The school also has an Asquith individualized mentoring. Every child has a mentor, and they set their goals, and their goals are based on habits of mind. Similarly, the assessment task includes the habits of minds as well. So therefore, it is something that has become part of the fabric, and is not something that is done in some classes and not others. It is part of the school. So this particular student, I don't have the names, but you know what I mean, they put on my table.
I can't think of a better way to wrap up.
It was not planned.
To talk about the students.
Yeah, it was not planned. It was just, you know what I mean, someone said to me, Elizabeth, you might like to see what the kids are saying, right? So he says that the tips that have been helpful for me in my learning process are understanding what the material is in class and using the home to complete those. For example, using the applying past knowledge to new situations has been extremely helpful, as it gives me a better understanding of what the work is. I also persist in all my subjects by using the home and achieving marks that satisfy my expectations. Another one said, when we learn about the habits of mind, I use the strategy of thinking flexibly in tests, which moves me towards my goal. Another one says, persisting through assessments and completing them with good work without procrastinating. Responding with wonderment and awe makes things more interesting when you think about the bigger picture, and makes you more motivated to learn and listen. And the last one says, some tips that have helped me learn are thinking of different ways to accomplish the problem that I have been given. I use the thinking flexibly, habit of minds, you're wonderful. So this is the children saying their story. And I think when you read those stories, you cannot stop yourself smiling and thinking, well, we are on the right path, because it is not about us as teachers. It is about the learners, and they're the ones that it would make the difference in the world. So it has been a wonderful journey. We've been since together 2019 is the first time I spoke to you. Yeah. And it was like, school development day of term 4. We had COVID and a lot of other things that we've done, most of our work online. But definitely we can see that appreciation, and we can see also the reports now that the teachers write, the habits of mind are part of that reporting. And we stopped having parent-teacher nights like the 5-minute, the speed dating, as I call it, that actually we've got student-led conferences, 20 minutes, every child says the story of their learning to the parents as well as to the teachers. So the focus has completely changed from a teacher-driven classroom and teachers tell you what to do to this is what I need, so therefore how you're going to assist me and help me in order to achieve it. So that's sort of our story.
Thanks, Elizabeth. That's beautiful. And I would love to stay and chat with you, but I did promise people we'd wrap up at 1:45. Well, I've promised 1:30, so we'd wrap it up. And I think the other thing, you sold yourself short, because don't forget this year you were a, what's the correct way to phrase it? School of Excellence. Is that the right way to phrase it?
So this is for the education. You
The
mean for the
education award.
Australian
Yes.
Education, Award. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. For
For this
AIM,
work
we
that
did
you were doing.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's extraordinary.